It is important within the blueprint of your soul's knowing to bring change. You are correct, you have free will. As we see it, you have a playground, do you not? Yet, think of the way in which children play. Once they are on the playground, some of them may be on the swing, some of them may be on the slides, some of them may be pushed on the playground. The blueprint that you have within yourself, within Michelle, within many millions of human beings that are here right now to bring change. How many of you have woken up, as you would declare? How many of you have said to yourself, when is this going to change? Well, you are the free will. You are to be the change.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Ask Julie Ryan Show. It's where we blend spirituality and practicality to help you live a life of purpose and joy. We have Mich Carpenter with us on the show today. Mich channels guides, elementals, and shamans. And I plan to ask her to channel her guides real time to get their perspective on how we can heal things we may not even know are an issue. Please remember to subscribe, leave a comment, and share this episode with your family and friends. Now let's go talk with Mich and her guides. Mich, welcome to the show. I'm so delighted that you got up early to talk to us because we can talk to you real time tomorrow.
I know. So exactly. So it's the 19th of November here today, and it's just such an uncanny existence of how you are right here, but behind us in time. Crazy.
I know.
Thank you
so
for
I get
having
to
me.
talk to you real time in the future. I always feel like I'm in a sci-fi movie.
Yes.
When we're doing that. And you could have shown up in your jammies. That would have been fine.
Well, secret, I do have my slippers on and I do have jeans on because normally that's the great thing about Zoom.
I love it. I love it. What's the Council of Eight?
Gosh, they are ascended masters and angelic beings of light who hold, I'm discovering more and more and more that they hold such wisdom and share such wisdom with us as human beings. They have once walked the earth planes and they share truth. So as an example, they would share something to a client about something that is either that is going on in the person's world, or energetically what they've come in with, what they would call, or we would call, an imprint. You know, so let's say, for example, abandonment, the abandonment wound. And what I so love about them is not only are they very direct, but they're very funny. They laugh at us as humans a lot. And they remind us to have fun. They remind us about the childlike essence of actually who we are. Yet, what I feel incredibly blessed and honored is over these last sort of, we've been living in this town for 3.5, almost 4 years. About the last 5 years, 6 years, they were starting to open up my throat portal. So they were getting me to sing to like Lady Gaga songs. And I was like, yes, I'm a Lady Gaga. I can do this. But I would, no. But they kept saying, sing. You know, when I had in-person clients, sing. And I was trying to get to these notes and they kept saying, your throat's opening, your throat's opening. And they bring these different frequencies through, Julie, which blow me away. Like because I'm a clear channel, there's a lot of the sessions and the information I do not remember. Yet if I listen back, I think, wow, that came through me, because it's just, so they may, as an example, say to a client, you're holding on to guilt, the energy of guilt. And they'll say to the client, bring focus to your lower back, or, you know, they feel into a person's body and field. And they will bring attention to the specific part in the body. And then, you know, when we go in, the out is what's bringing change to us on a cellular, like I look at it as a cellular space or soulful space. But the frequencies that come through are like directing into the cell of a human being, or cells of human beings. And the only way I know that they're bringing change is through the tonings and through the frequencies, sound frequencies, because we know that that is a huge amount of who we are. We're a body of water. I could talk about them for hours and hours and hours, because they just, I hear back from clients where I don't know, they'll just say, wow, because there's a lot of information that they will share. And a client will go, wow. And I'll say, just allow yourself to integrate. But what I love is people will feel the buzz. They'll feel, they'll say, oh, okay, I feel like literally like this, and I'll say, just allow it to integrate. And it's kind of like a buzz that happens, I think, when you're perhaps at a concert, you just feel this lightness. And they really, really are, for me, bringing such change to humanity, to human beings, individually, but collectively. And they're reminding us of who we are and how we are powerful as humans. But they sort of zone in. They're very specific. They bring up Akashic records. They bring up what they call past timelines, because we as you and I were discussing the future and where you're at right now, like I'm in the future, but here we are. And they'll say, this is what's happening in the simulation of who we are, because we know our souls. I believe our souls are huge and captivating. And so they like I said, I could talk about them for hours, and I feel incredibly blessed because they're here to share love, compassion. And I'm smiling because there's one story with a client that I had once, who she was moaning. And she was moaning in our community group, and they apparently stopped her and went blah, 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 blah. And she stopped. And she emailed me like quite perturbed, Michelle, I thought they were beings of light and love. And I said, well, did they stop you? Did they make you think? And she goes, yes. They told me to stop being a victim. And she said, so it kind of went, it's almost like that's part of the truth that we don't want to hear as human beings. But it made her rephrase and rethink every time she was moaning, because they were trying to get her to stop moaning about her life and about where she's come from. So those are the, when I hear that, I kind of take offense. I'm like, guys, seriously, like you hear about love. You're supposed to teach compassion. Like I have negotiations with them a lot. And then they're just like, well, we've shared truth. And that's what they want to kind of bring us into a sense of wholeness once again, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a lot to unpack. So
Yes.
let's just
So
that
you've got to stop me. I get so excited. Michelle, shut up. Shh, come back.
It's all good. But when you give me a lot of information, there's a lot of questions that come up in my mind as I'm going, okay, well, what about this? What about that? How's that work? Okay, so let's back up a second. Mm-hmm. So first of all, I want you, if you're willing to channel for us later, I'd love to hear you sing like Lady Gaga. That would be great. And, no pressure.
Now I put myself.
No pressure or anything. Yeah. But this Council of Eight are angels, they're spirit guides, they're what? What are they in particular as you understand it?
Okay, so the way I've come to understand them in the beginning when I first started to channel was they had come through the essence or the energies of Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Lady Diana, Nelson Mandela. That's how I was sort of seeing them and sensing them. Yet at the same time, and now this is where we go into the woo-woo side of life, is I literally have met them as individual energies. So I've seen them as Palladian, I've seen them as Octarian, I've seen them as this plasma, and they shift and change all the time. A few months ago, when I was in meditation, I saw this being with this beautiful, massive big head with this beautiful white and gold. It was almost like, when you want to touch somebody and you're like, oh, like that's how I was feeling into the energy. And I said, well, who are you? And I got shown, I'm Ekton. And I said, well, who are you? And I become very quizzical and curious when I meet different beings. And they say, well, we're part of your team. And we shift and change, just as you people shift and change all the time. We shift and change. We are, the way they describe themselves is, we are everything, yet we are nothing. And it made sense to me because those are, Lady Diana, Nelson Mandela are, it made sense at that time to me because that's what I wanted them to be. It's like, oh, well, of course. And they said, well, we are nothing. We are the essence of everything. We are consciousness. We are connection. We are source. We are divine. Whatever it is you want us to be, we will be that. Yet what they've been very clear in sharing is it doesn't matter how we perceive them to be. What matters is the messages that are coming through to help the energy of a human, to help us re-see our light, to be in the space of our eternal light again. So have I been clear?
Well, it does. And that's been my experience as well, Mich, is that spirit comes through in a way that we can grasp it from a human perspective. And so the best example of this is I was in Ireland a few months ago, and I met my girlfriend's little granddaughter who's 5. Her name's Willow, and she wanted to know her guardian angel's name. And so it was whatever it was, I don't remember. And she said, well, does she have a middle name? And so I asked her guardian angel, and she said, well, if she wants me to, I can. And she gave us a name. So I thought that was perfect because they're going to your point, shape shift to be in a format that we can understand. Back to these council members. Are they angels? Are they spirit guides who've lived a human life? Are they spirit guides who've never lived a human life? Maybe they've lived a life on a planet in a galaxy far, far away. Or are they a combination of a bunch of different entities? What kind of entities make up your spirit council? And does that even matter? What kind of entities make up your spirit council? My guess is probably not.
I was going to say all of the above.
Okay.
And I thought that perhaps if you would like me to channel, ask them that question because they'll give a great answer. They speak very much
great.
in the now, in the present. And I know earlier on, you'd asked me the question about Nelson Mandela and Lady Diana and the energy, the essence of who they are. And, it's so interesting. Every time I mention essence, I get this goosebumps. And that's how I know the connections are already starting to happen. And I think that would be a great question to ask them because for me, I was initially trying to, because I didn't believe I could channel in the beginning. And it was kind of like, well, just give me the clarification. Who are you? So when they mentioned the Council of Eight, in my mind's eye, in my head, I was like, oh, these are a bunch of beings sitting around the table on a spaceship. No, it's like I said earlier on, they've come to me in different ways. And there's so many beings out there. And I think that for me personally, again, it's like, what could I gravitate? What could I share? Because this is the way I said, okay, well, how can humans understand who they are? And this is how they had shared in terms of we are ascended masters, angelic beings of light who have once walked the earth planes. Now, I have 5 different interpretations of that because I know that when I'm in meditation or when I'm out there in the field, I see so much, I see beyond the veil. And to try and articulate myself over these last few years about who they are with that question you've just asked, to be honest, has been really challenging for me because sometimes I would share the energy like this and sometimes I'd share and I'd say, Michelle, just get your act together because I know it's important. Humans want to know. And again, what they've shared is they are the essence of everything. So, I could put my attention on a butterfly and say, wow, just feel the vibration. This morning I had my cat. Funny enough, you mentioned this, your little 5-year-old that you had met in Ireland. My cat's name is Willow. And she's just loved the energy this morning because she never sits on my lap. And this morning when I was having my coffee, she sat on my lap and she was kneading, and I could literally feel her vibration through my body. And that's what my hope is that over time, that as we are letting go of our filters of who we are as human beings, that we all could feel the essence of so much, because we are vibration, we are frequency. And I sense that that's possibly what they want to share with us today. I never know, but I get this rush of goosebumps and I can just feel my hands get cold, but I do take a few breaths. So let me know when you would like to bring them through, and ask them those questions.
Yeah. Before we do that, Mish, I want to find out how this come into you. Have you been doing this since you were a kid, or is there somebody else in your family that does this? Did you have a grandmother that taught you how to do this? How did this all originate?
Oh gosh, Julie, I'll keep it as short as I can. And a part of my journey, no, is I grew up in a family where I had a very chaotic trauma, which I didn't know until I was 33 years old, and my ex-husband had an affair. I don't know how much you would like me to share, but there are some very big moments in my life where I just suppressed. I just took it on and basically just lived in fight or flight for most of my life until the age of 33, which I would call that my ex having an affair was my wake-up call to go, I'm so angry at life, something has to change. So at the age of 24, I'd knocked over and killed a young girl. I was a sales rep in my previous life. I'd looked down to put a straw into a cool drink, and she had misjudged my car and run across, and I didn't know what I'd hit because I was in farm territory. That was meant to be a wake-up call. It wasn't. I've met her in a hypnosis session, and it was a soul contract that we had. It took me, it still does. I still have moments where talking about her. Sorry. This, the beauty of her story is that her mom phoned me. She got my number off the accident report sheet, and her mom's name was Mary. So I just feel so fulfilled. It's like these moments where I've been guided to wake up, I was sexually abused at the age of 5. My dad was a Rhodesian soldier, was a weekend alcoholic. My mom was a very angry woman, and projected a lot of her anger onto myself and my siblings. I had bulimia. I was a dancer. I lost my best friend at 16 in hospice in South Africa. But there were all the links in my puzzle, my journey. Sorry. These are, believe it or not, happy tears. Because when I share, it's like, wow, they always had my back. But the human experience has been one of such, I want to say, my soul's knowing in this lifetime. And at the same time, I went to church, I went to Pentecostal. There was always a connection to something out there. But the learning for me was working through myself and my trauma as a human being, working through layers of forgiveness, huge amounts of layers of forgiveness with masculine energy. And as I have let go, I started to connect more and more. I've come to realize that we all have the gift. We all are all born with it. I just shut it down. Interesting enough, my mom, over many years, had said to me, she sees things, but she was a reborn Christian, so she never kind of wanted to, the word that comes to me is expose that there was, or even look at that there was more. She was connected to her Bible, and that was her belief system. But I grew up with a lot of trauma that I I was led to work through. And there was always these connections, because even when my friend died at 16, I was in hospice and I watched her family go for counseling. And I remember looking at the counselor thinking, how is she not devastated? She's surrounded by death. Now, when my ex had an affair, I was guided to go on a weekend retreat. Funny enough, I went to first go see a clairvoyant, and he said to me, you just don't know how to love yourself. And I remember in that moment wanting to throat punch him, because I was like, just help me with my anger. Just like, duh. Like, I didn't come here to hear that, you know. And he said, why don't you go on this weekend, which was led by hospice? And I then became a hospice caregiver, a part-time voluntary caregiver. And it was all these moments of reconnecting back into myself. And that's the essence of who we are. I'd just forgotten because of my human journey in this lifetime. Yet it's been a great journey of learning about showing up in compassion, showing up in love. Because for me, that's how they show up. They show up in compassion. They show up in love. And how many times I've said to a friend, yep, or my husband, tell me the truth, just tell me the truth. And when he tells me the truth, I don't like hearing the truth. And that's what the Council of Eight have absolutely, they've always been in my journey. And they've shown me in moments of hypnosis sessions or meditation where they've been there from the very beginning. I just see this white light. Like, I've seen them around my crib. I've seen this white light. And, you know, yes, my interpretation would be like they've got these beautiful big wings. But they're in the clouds. They're in the vibration of everything. You know, like I shared, my cat Willow, she very, very rarely sits on my lap in the morning. And this morning she came and she was right there, like almost giving me the love that I think she was trying to ground me.
Yeah.
And
So did this Council of Eight then just start sending messages to you, or how did you hook in with them where you could have a dialogue?
great question. Over the years of having counseling, one of my very first mentors and teachers, who also had worked part-time for hospice, she'd had a very similar journey to mine, interesting enough. It's like we were walking parallel lives. And when she was teaching me about connection to the universe and energy, I was listening to Wayne Dyer CDs and Louise Hay CDs and Abraham. And when she was teaching me, I would hear different voices. But I'd never ever shared it with her because I was led to believe that everybody else knew better than me. Everybody else knew more than me. And I used to drive her mad because like I said, I was a sales rep, and I would be driving, listening to Wayne Dyer, and then I would get home that night and phone her and say, I don't understand. What does he mean by this? Or what does he mean by that? And she'd say, Michelle, you're in your head. Mish, get out of your head and drop into your body, drop into your heart. And these voices were always there, but I never chose to listen to them. You know, it's kind of like driving and you get to a stop street and the voice says, your intuition says turn left, but you turn right because your left brain has been taught to turn right. And then, okay. So that's how I started to hear them. When I really, really, really look back at my journey, they'd always been there. I just was here. Like my head was what was in control all the time, because I didn't even know half the stuff that I'd been through, the abuse, my dad having affairs. I remember so much about my parents and the arguing and the fighting. I didn't realize that had affected me so deeply, you know, tonsillitis, bronchitis. So they were always there. I just wasn't ready, for whatever reason, to listen, to really, really listen to the vibration, to tune in. So my experience has been through experiential. My experience has been through doing different courses, but then not listening into the frequency that is always, always in tune. Because when we're calm, you know, as I mentioned, I've always been in fight or flight. I've done things quickly. And my body has slowly but surely has helped me, annoyingly so, like my knees just caved. They just gave in, and I had to learn how to stand again. I could walk, but I had to shuffle, because my knees were always swollen, which knees are connected to kidneys, my adrenals. And it was kind of like I had to bump my head. And eventually when I found that space, it's interesting, reconnecting. If you think about it, this is the simplicity or the symbolism of this morning. Reconnecting. I had to put my earplugs in, pull them out, put them in until I found a space of calm. And as soon as I was like, their frequency, I could listen to what the messages were about for me. So they just got me to slowly but surely start doing figure eights over clients. And I was like, oh, why am I doing this? Don't worry about the why. Just be. And it's a continuous learning for me, Julie. As you may have picked up, it takes me a while to really just drop in. I can most certainly connect very easily, but dropping into that space of calm in my physical form is a practice for me still, because I still am working through moments of fight or flight.
Well, that's a learned skill to be able to relax on a moment's notice. And furthermore, there's lots of research out there that shows that children that grow up in abusive homes, or, some kind of drama and trauma always going on, that they lay different neural pathways in their brains. And so they get triggered more easily than somebody that grows up in a safe, just kind of normal, if that even is a thing, I'm using air quotes, normal environment where they don't immediately go into fight or flight. And my guess is, after hearing a little bit about some of the awful things you've been through, when something happens that somebody else would say, well, that's no big deal, we'll just do this, you're already in fight or flight, thinking, oh Lord, how are we going to get out of this situation? And it's really not even anything that's that critical, but it's just an autonomic nervous system response because of what you were exposed to as a child. So back to when you connect with your Council of Eight now, do you do something in particular to get in touch with them? Do you meditate first? Do you like twirl 3 times and jump on your left foot? What are you doing to connect with them?
So I take a few breaths. There's always a connection. My practice has been just to take a few breaths. Like I can sense they're already here, but I just take a few breaths just to calm my body down. And then I have a little moment where I go, are you ready? And they're like, yawn, we're always ready.
That's what I heard when you said that. I heard them say, we're always ready.
Yeah. So I just want to please say thank you, Julie, for just allowing me this space to come back into myself. So thank you to both you and Chris for just helping me to reconnect, because that most certainly just is, it's like, whew, so thank you for allowing and just holding the space for me.
You bet.
So would you like me to bring them through?
Sure. Yeah. If they have something that they want to say to everybody that's watching and listening, that would be great.
Wonderful. The connection is quick, is it not? And we say to everyone that is here today on this earthly plane, we are beings of light. We hold an essence of knowing. As we are connected to this one, we are connected to yourself. We are connected to everyone that is in the orchestra of life. May we say that for humanity at this moment in time, there is an undisclosed amount of change. And notice these words, beloved Julie. We say thank you for you. Thank you for your team. Thank you for your sharings. Thank you for your wisdom. Yet as the time is now, as there is only now in this moment, this is where we see that many, many humans are here for the now, for this time in change, for this change in time. You have all been gifted your truth. You've all been gifted to be here. Notice how we say this. It is a true and rare gift for you and you and you and you and you and many of the millions and billions that are here. Yet we say that as humans are learning to be in their space of truth, there is an opening of the human portals, the voices, the voice box. Many have been muzzled, many have wondered what truth is. We are excited for this journey with you, and we say thank you for you. Do you have any questions for us, please?
What's the big overreaching goal of the human experience? Why do we incarnate?
This is a great question. There is no why in reincarnation. You are here to hear, to hear. Notice how we say this. It may not make sense, yet we know that it does. You are here to be here. You are here for your learnings. You are here for your existence in your walking of your evolution, for growth. It is simple as we see it. If you were to take a sunflower seed and plant it and water it, you wait eagerly for it to grow. Some sprout out quickly, some do not. So in the reincarnation, you are here to bring change. You are here to reincarnate for the change, for the upgrade in your cellular system. How many are going through upgrades right now at this moment in time? How many are learning that they have held onto? Notice how we say this, please. They have held onto so much that does not serve them no longer. Hence we talk about voice box. Your energetic system, as that is what you are, correct? You are a system. How are you choosing? Your soul has its knowing in the choosing before you come into this form of who you are. Have we made sense?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. May I ask some more questions?
Please go ahead.
While you're here, let's take advantage of you being here. You talk about, Mich, and I assume you get this from your Council of Eight, that we all come in with a blueprint. Can you say more about how does that originate? Do we figure that out when we're in between lifetimes and we say, okay, I want to explore this and this and this and this, and then we incarnate, and that's kind of our roadmap? And if so, where does free will come in to the equation?
We really and truly love your truth, beloved Julie. You are here as you are here to help many, 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 many human beings. So once again, we say to you, it is the ultimate when one is in gratitude. And we say to you that in this question of what you are sharing right now. It is important within the blueprint of your soul's knowing to bring change. You are correct, you have free will. As we see it, you have a playground, do you not? Yet think of the term, or think of the way in which children play. Once they are on the playground, some of them may be on the swing, some of them may be on the slides, some of them may be pushed on the playground. The blueprint that you have within yourself, within Michelle, within many millions of human beings that are here right now to bring change. How many of you have woken up, as you would declare? How many of you have said to yourself, when is this going to change? Well, you are the free will. You are to be the change. Yet in your blueprint, think of it like this. As we are holding Michelle's hands right now, she is able to turn this way and she is able to turn this way. Yet as we are coming through her, once again, she is able to turn this way and she's able to turn this way, which gives a different viewpoint, does it not? So the connection is always within the blueprint. Yet it is your soul's knowing to be the change. This is a very open question, is it not? So as Michelle was sharing parts of her journey in this physical form, at times she turned this way and at times she turned this way. Different humans have come into her space. The connection has been there from when? Way out in the Milky Way, as per yourself too. You are vastly connected to so many different beings, so many different humans. Same, yet different. So the connection happens out, in. The energy, the transformation is in, out. And then your spark of light is birthed and you come in to this physical form. And then your free will is to decide for yourself. Are you wanting to be in the space of love? Are you wanting to hear differently? When one is hearing differently, it is as simple as taking a strand of hair and knowing that one strand of hair holds so much vibration, so much memory. Many of you have been told this is a time for disclosure. This is a time of the Aquarius space of change. And we say it with a big smile on Michelle's face, as you are all here for one truth: love. Nothing else exists in that space, in this space, in this space, and in this space. You are all blessed with free will. Many choose not to be the change, and we see this as simple as breath. Yet many are here relearning. Earth is a space of relearning, is it not? And it is as again we share with you. Would you like to be the seed that has been planted? And when the seed grows, it brings a different newness, not only to your garden, it brings a freshness, it brings a cellular change, an energetic shift within the memory of the imprint. We hope this makes sense.
It does. And then to piggyback on that question, does the change that one of us experiences, does that impact the collective consciousness, and does it serve everyone, both who's currently living, who's gonna live, and does it serve somebody who's lived in the past? Does it serve everything? Does it serve everyone when we make a decision or go through any kind of experience? Does it? My thought is that it benefits everybody, even though we're the ones going through with it. Can you say more about that? Am I thinking clearly on that?
You most certainly are, as we see and we know the human challenges that exist for humanity. Yet if you were not to know the challenges, how would you know to come back into your knowing? So you are correct. In vibration, in frequency, the body knows, yet the soul has a knowing. It is different, is it not? And it is as simple as we were hanging out and waiting, and we had said to Michelle, do not worry, we have you. And she still has doubts, this one. And we hang out and we wait, and we hang out and we wait, and we hang out and we wait. She is funny, this one. Yet, as you held space, were patient, do you see how everything is about connection? And you were able to say to her, we are on time, or you were able to say to her, we do not have enough time. It is a very different way of sharing a statement. And the sharing of the statement is going to bring a rapid change to this system, which you were well aware of. So when humans learn that the heart vibration is beyond anything that the head can make as a statement or the mouth can share, it is all within the heart. And when one sees one, when one hears one, when one is only in the space of connection, you are able to change the frequency. You are able to sense, see, feel, hear. Think of it like this. A blind person who is able to hear differently, as they do not have this sense of seeing. Yet someone who is deaf is able to see visually very differently to someone who sees all the time. And notice how we are using Michelle's head right now. When humans see all the time, take away the sight, and everything else becomes more opened. It is about fine-tuning, beloved Julie. You are learning through nature all the time, are you not? Nature knows. Do you have to tell birds to migrate? Do you have to tell animals that there is a flood coming? They are well aware. They finally are attuned into vibration. So yes, when one brings change, another brings a new formation in the mathematical equation. And as many of you, may we say, are rocking, would you say this is backwards or forwards, or would you say this is sideways? It does not make a difference to us. Yet when one is rocking, it is about finding your space of connection Many of you humans talk about belonging to a tribe. Many of you humans wonder, who is your tribe? Where have you come from? Think of it like this. How many times have human beings tried to figure out how the pyramids have been built? And yet there's a new discovery and a new discovery and a new discovery and, and a new discovery and a new discovery. Yawn. What about this? What about that? How about... Does it really matter? What matters is the vibration that humans feel. History is forever changing, is it not? It is forever in every specific micro, macro, cosmic space of knowing. There is always, in all ways, change. Brilliant, we think. You humans are brilliant. You are miraculous. You are powerful. You know this, do you not, beloved Julie?
Yep, I do. May I ask a couple more questions?
Please go ahead. We are loving our connection. Thank you.
Me too. This is great because it's so unexpected. So thank you to you, and thanks to Mich for being willing to allow us to have this conversation today. I do a lot of work with energy frequencies to help people heal themselves. And I get to see in my mind's eye all these different analogies to represent the energy frequency that is flowing through me to the person with whom I'm working, whether that be somebody who's a private client or somebody who's called into my show. Why are analogies used in the way? Sometimes they're really funny, and it's been my experience that spirit's hilarious a lot of the time. Great sense of humor, lots of joy, and all of that. But how does that work when spirit is sending vibrations from me and through me to the person with whom I'm conversing? Can you say more about what's going on there, please?
We most certainly can. It is only in the connection of one. So it is simple. You were picking up on Michelle's vibration. She was picking up on your vibration. And the vibration, the connection had already happened way beyond the two of you connecting with what you humans call email systems, technology. So do you see how there was connection, 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 connection in the physical form? So the connection was happening way out there. And may we say that it was brought in to your existence. And the connection was happening way out there with Michelle. And the connection was brought in to the human existence. So this was already designed long, 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 long time ago. Think of it like Morse code. So for yourself, the way that you are open, and that is the soul. A soul is open. There is always connection. There is always vibration. There is always frequency. It is about the fine-tuning. You are finely attuned, as is Michelle. And your team are finely attuned for their different roles in how they are helping you to play. So you see through people, do you not, beloved Julie?
Correct.
And this
I see inside of them, inside their human bodies.
Correct.
Yes.
Well, same, yet different.
Right.
As you see through them. You see inside of them as you know the physical form. You know exactly what the body looks like. You know exactly as you have become a master of what the physical form looks like. Yet the mastery is out there. You were born to be the master that you are. So the seed was planted and you brought it into formation through different ways of your learning, your learning, your learning, your learning, your learning. And it is about the human's learning. So your connection is to everything. Yet your physical knowing, your abilities is to fine tune. Think of it as taking an arrow and you are shooting the arrow and you reach the target every time, the middle of the target or the outer of the target. Notice how we said that. When we said you take the arrow and you shoot and you reach the target, how many people would have thought to themselves, the bull's eye. You have the bull's eye. You have the knowing. And your connection is continuously in flow. As may we say, and we thank you once again, you are highly attuned. And when one is highly attuned, one is not stuck with the cogs, the spider webs. One is wanting, knowing that humans are wholesome. Humans are all miracles. Humans have a design. And this is where you are helping them to find a redesign within the architecture of who they are. Think of it like this, and we once again are very highly attuned into the pyramids. We would be able to that is the vibration of one of the pyramids. Yet if we were to take a part of the pyramid away from the bottom, it would fall. It would find a new way. Yet the vibration would be different. And this is where people like yourself, people like Michelle, people like your team, you are all a part of an investigating team, are you not? You are investigating human beings. And as you are helping humans to bring healing, you are helping humans to reconnect into the healing energy that is always, 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 always here right now. Yet humans become heavy in their formation, do they not? Notice how we are bending Michelle's head right now. How many humans keep saying, no, we can't, we cannot, we do not, we are not sure, we are not worthy. This has been happening for far too long. Too many slaves. Slavery is something that we have known. You have wondered who we are. We know slavery. We know the polar opposites of both the dark and the light. The dark and the light. The light always, 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 in all ways, supersedes the light. So you are a light. Everyone is light.
I agree. And everybody can learn how to do this. We all come in with the ability to do it. Would you agree?
Correct.
Yeah.
You are all miracles.
And so is there one last piece of guidance that you can give to all of us to help us tap in with that ability to communicate with spirit and receive guidance in a way that everybody can do, that's simple, that's effective, that can just be universal, regardless of someone's age or background or training or beliefs? Is there Is there a step or two that you can recommend to all of us?
We most certainly can. We have said this in the simplest of simplest ways. Reconnect into your breath. It is simple. Hold your hands onto your hearts. And we said it earlier on and we'll say it again. It is about knowing. And when one has a knowing, which you all do, connect into a space of gratitude. We know that there is huge amount of disruption on the earth planes at this moment in time. And there are many out there that will watch and say, well, it's easy for you to say, it is easy for you to say, it is easy for you to say, it is easy. So do you see how even when humans are saying it is easy, it is easy, it is easy, it is easy, well, it is. Bring yourself back to simplicity. Bring yourself back to connection. How many humans look down all the time? On their screens, on their screens, on their screens, on their screens. How many humans are losing connection with themselves? So once again, find a space of the connection to nature. And for those who live in high-rise buildings, grow a seed. Nurture the seed. Nurture the plant. And as you are nurturing the plant, you are nurturing yourself. Breath is key for life, is it not? You come in with your breath. How many of you as mothers, as fathers, want to hear the first cry of a baby? You want to know the beat. The heartbeat is what you want to hear within the womb. So when one says to oneself, I am grateful for my beat. I'm grateful for the connection to the beat of the solar system. Your solar system. You are the solar system. She is the solar system. When one sees the sun in someone else, which is the light, nothing else exists. There is only happiness. There's only joy. Did Michelle not say that she was excited and nervous all at once? It's the same vibration, is it not? The body, the body, the body. The body is a sensory space of change. And when one is sensing, it is in a space of calm that one is finally attuned into the all that is. May we please end off with a blessing of light. Please allow your breath to flow through you. We are grateful for this connection. We say thank you, thank you, thank you. Namaste, everyone.
Wow. Okay. Lots to talk about there, girl. Holy mackerel. Good heavens. Okay. Wow. How much of that do you recall?
I remember, I just remember my hands doing this. No, I'm so cold, and I know this happens when I meet people like yourself who work in a different field, and like I want to say stratosphere, and that's what's happened. It's kind of like they I get to a different, like it's like I'm there and I'm slowly but surely coming back in again. So I'm just a clear channel. Sorry,
What's
I
a
don't.
clear channel versus a regular channel?
That's true. I don't know. Great question.
You're the second person in a couple of weeks I've heard say clear channel. And I want to say, what are they, like
Oh,
murky channels or muddy
true.
channels? What's the difference?
That sounded very egotistical. Thank you for
No, no,
calling me
no,
out on
no,
that.
I
No,
don't mean it that way, but I just mean you're the
no,
second
not from
person I've
you.
heard say
No,
that. Yeah.
yeah, but I'm thinking to myself, I was like, that's actually an egotistical comment because I've never ever really looked into it. so, so that's what I was like. Actually, that sounded very egotistical. What's the difference? Well, there is no difference if you think about it. That's just something I've been told and I took on. So thank you
Yeah.
for making that clear.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I think if you're channeling, you're channeling.
yeah, well, I've said to friends, that paint, they channeling, they're bringing through. I can draw stickmen, so
You do. I say, I'm too good to decide to, have a decent legible signature, let alone drawing some kind of artwork thing.
exactly.
They used an analogy that I love because one of the questions they allowed me to ask a whole bunch of questions. I thought, what the heck? They're on the line and they're letting me ask questions. I might as well take advantage of it, right? But one of the questions was, if we have a blueprint and we come in with a blueprint, where does free will come in? And they used the analogy, which I thought was really good. No surprise that it was masterful, coming from your spirits. But they said, think about a playground full of children. One kid's on the swing, somebody else is on the teeter totter, somebody else is playing with the ball, somebody else is doing something else, but they're all playing on the playground. And I thought, that's a really good analogy that they gave us. The the other thing is we got to witness the sound vibrations and stuff. Like they were doing interesting things with tones and with uh like beep 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 beep, beep, and then they mentioned Morse code. And it sounded like Morse code when they were doing it. And then at one point, they were making these interesting noises. And I'm thinking, okay, what is this? What's this? And so what I did was I tuned into the frequency of it, and I just assumed that by using those sound frequencies, they were giving us a different way to understand it that perhaps from a human perspective, we wouldn't be able to grasp it from a cognitive direction, but we would be able to grasp it from an energetic connection within our bodies and our spirits. Am I assuming that correctly?
I love the way you said that. So I've had shamanic energy come through, which as an example, I don't know if you've ever heard of Castle Hill Rocks here in New Zealand. It's called, they're these, so I always relate them to, think of Stonehenge, and they're massive, 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 big, gigantic rocks. And the Dalai Lama has actually called it the center of the universe because I don't know if you've heard of Freddie Silver, but he's come here. He goes to all these megalithic sites and he connects to the elders. So he's connected to the Waitaha, which were here prior to the Maori, I believe. But there's these massive, gigantic stones, and they have faces on them. And then you see a different kind of, you see a snake. You see every time I go there, and it's this. There's just this. It's like this, like kind of you being spiritual on steroids. And as an example, when I go there, I was actually looking at this last night on my phone, but I bring through different chants from the land. And again, it's just kind of the way I think about it is when we get out of our own way, there's such a deep tuning to everything. and the frequencies that come through are never the same, like ever the same. I had somebody measure them the once on a podcast I was on, and I was quite amazed. The one was about working through grief and trauma, like the solfeggio frequency forks, which I have here on my desk. And I don't know what the resonance was, but it was something. And then they'd offered to share a frequency of love, and somebody had measured them and said, oh, this is the frequency of love. And I was like, wow, that's coming through me. But it's not me. I'm just the voice. So I got to see how they wanted to expand my throat so that I could, so that this could come through. And I just really had to get out of my own way. And even an which is so beautiful and universal. I'm currently very blessed to be collaborating with she was an ordained Buddhist nun working in the Thai jungle. They throw the outcasts, the murderers, the rapists, they were AIDS patients, and I am currently collaborating with her, and they've brought through OMs, and she's worked in different monasteries, and she said, Michelle, I've never heard OM like that. And I just go, wow. It's just, so I think there's dolphin energy that comes through. They do a clicking in the back of my voice. And if you really, really listen, and I've only just come to discover this, when it's kind of like having my mouth that's dry. I can hear like my mouth's dry right now, but when I'm bringing the energy through, there's a clicking that happens in the back of my. And somebody again, I just don't know, Julie. I don't have all the answers. Well, you could have spoken to them for hours.
Well, yeah. At one point, they were doing this like chirping thing, and when they started doing that, I thought, what is this, like a light language of the bird people or something? I mean, it sounded like birds.
Yes,
and I thought, that was the first thing that came into my head. This sounds like a light language of bird people.
Wow.
I don't know what that is. I don't know if there even are bird people. I go to the bird food store to buy bird food for my bird feeders that I have in my garden. My son goes, I said, I got to go get bird food. He goes, say hi to the bird people when you're in there. And it's this shop that only sells bird food. It's called Wild Birds Unlimited. And I go get my bird food there. And so ever since he was little, he's like, Mommy, you going to go visit the bird people? And I thought, I'm listening to Mish's, guides channeling the bird people here. But
I love that, because how many times are we happy when we whistle? And I love how.
Oh, yeah, they were whistling. You were whistling.
Yeah, well, how many? Just think of that. You talk about the bird people, and I'm like, oh my gosh, of course you're going to go get bird food, and the birds bring us joy, and there's just so much that comes through that if you had to ask me to do it as me, the person, I can, like, I'm not trying to I'm trying to whistle.
Oh yeah, you were whistling. Well, on the bird people, I laughed to myself because when I was a kid, my mother and my grandmothers, all had bird feeders and stuff. And I thought, God, that must just be something that old people do. And now I'm one of those old people because I got bird feeders, I guess. I've had them for a really long time. I've had them for probably 20 some years here, at least at this house. So I guess that makes me an old person. I too think that it's interesting how when they asked if they could do a final blessing. And what was interesting was I was going to thank them to end the channeling thing. So they picked up on that before I said anything. And they said, all right, we're going to do, can we offer a final blessing? And it was a really high frequency. I was waiting for my glass to shatter. Like opera singers, their glasses will go shatter, with certain vibrations.
Wow.
But it was interesting because it sounded very operatic, and it was at a super high soprano that it would be interesting to see if operatic sopranos really do reach that vibration, and what's transpiring this was the first thing I thought of. I thought, if this is where these top sopranos in the world can reach this note, where is the note, in what pieces, and what is it trying to convey?
Mm-hmm. That's a great way of thinking. And Robert Edward Grant, who, I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's a quantum physicist, and then he's very connected into the different notes of music and vibration. And what you're sharing is, it's kind of like I can feel my body's, because it's a different tune. It's a different, like I'm cold right now, and that's what's been like. I really have to find a different space after we've finished up my interview, but the different space is coming. It's almost like I know I'm here, but I'm still out there, and I think that's for me most certainly, and I hope this helps anybody who's listening, that we all connected into that. You said it earlier on. I always related to the sperm and the egg, and I mean, one sperm out of millions chose a Julie, chose a Michelle, chose your Chris, because he's a part of our team right now here, and it's like one sperm out of millions was going, no, that's mine. And then we were created, but we didn't ever once, as mothers, have to go, okay, baby, get eyes. Okay, oh my God, Julie, did you forget the lungs? Did you remember the lungs? Because we're on month, blah, 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 blah. We just grew from this knowing, from this sourceful, incredible intelligence, which I think is so, I don't think we'll ever tap into everything, because the universe is so vast. And the other day I saw the difference between there's the two what are they called, gosh, those big things that go up into this, not rockets, when you look through a telescope. Yes, there's the older one and the newer one, and I, for the life of me, can't think of the names, but the old one was kind of like murky, and you look at the new one, and what it can see, the colors are there, but what it can finally tune into is miraculous. And that's what I always say to anybody, no matter what we've been through, we are walking, talking miracles. And I've been very blessed to recently connect telepathically with nonverbal autistic children and adults. And they are so vastly connected. They are so gifted. And that's what I think my learning in life has been, is to stop talking as much as I do, which is still a learning. I haven't got that right yet. Like, shh, Michelle, you need more silence. Okay. And then I chirp like a bird. There you go. And if we just took those, and just brought ourselves into a space of calm, we would be so finely attuned into so much, because we would hear things differently. And I believe that's the world that I'm looking at with different filters. I came from a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, a lot of deep sadness that was so affecting me, and it was affecting my psychological way of thinking, but also just affecting my heart. I just blocked. I put protection after protection, and I'm South African, so I've come from a background which I didn't realize that a lot of us have PTSD, because we're always on, looking over your shoulder, always just, and we've been affected by crime, a lot. So when we came to New Zealand, it's like my soul guided us to come here to regulate our nervous system, because they have a very chilled way of life. And we're so connected to nature here. I don't know, have you ever been to New Zealand, Julie?
I haven't yet, but I'd love to come.
Please come. You're welcome anytime, and you're welcome to come and stay. It's a beautiful country that just, I see so often people just kind of go, but also, because you take in the beauty of everything. And I know that the universe is that, but I'm still learning to just slow myself down. And it really is a big learning, because when I've just been like, whoop, go, 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 push against the grain, push against the grain. And the grain is what? The grain is something that we eat, a grain of wheat. And when we're trying to push against it, well, it's pushing us. It would push me back. It's like a centrifugal force, and we are that, like being on a roller coaster. And it's like, whew, this is the ride of life. And sometimes I just go, oh my God. And it's like an infomercial. There's more that I've got to work through in my nervous system. There's more that I've got to learn to just breathe. And it's when we're in the calm, we can be the calm in the eye of the storm.
Exactly.
I hope I get it right at some stage of my life.
Oh, and then when you're done exploring it, then you're dead, and then you go back to heaven and you choose what you want to come back and experience next time. So it's all about creating. A couple of points, and then as we're wrapping this, I've got a couple last questions for you. When you talked about being so cold, while you were just talking now, it was grounding you. And so my guess is you're probably feeling warmer and less jittery, because I was grounding you the whole time that you were talking. Secondly, when you talked about how when you're channeling, you get cold, here's my take on what's happening. I don't know that I've heard too many other channels say this, but it made total sense to me, because you're getting your human psyche out of the way, and anything that's human has density and warmth. When somebody dies, what happens? The body gets cold, right? So you're getting, and see if this resonates with you, you're getting your humanness, not all the way, but somewhat out of the way, to allow the guides to come in and fill you so that they can communicate through your human mouth and sound and brain and and all of that stuff. And so that when they stop and you still feel like you're cold, it's like you've been submerged into really cold water to put your human part of your human energy kind of on ice, to allow spirit to come in. And spirit doesn't have warmth like a human body does, because it's all just pure energy. It's like vapor,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Does that make
yes.
sense?
Oh gosh, I love the way you have
I was being
described
led
that.
to share that with you.
Thank you, because often, gosh, for many years when I was going into the healing field, I believe we're all healers. It's what we do as moms. We put our hands if our kids have got a headache, and or rub their stomachs. And but my hands would always get cold, especially with in-person clients, and they would say to me, oh, "You're so cold, and healers are supposed to have warm hands." And at first, I go, oh, "I'm doing it wrong." Like that was my programming. And then I realized, actually, no.
Yeah. They're coming in and they're using your body as a container to get energy and information and vibrations and frequencies out through your body. So it's like if you have something that you want to fill, for instance, if you have like a planter and you put dirt in the planter, well, you have to dig a hole in order for the plant to come in to be planted, but the dirt's all around that hole, but the hole is where the plant goes in. So we've got to make space for that plant to come in the same way that you're making space in your human body with its warmth for a spirit to come in. And the spirit is just pure energy, so it doesn't have the same warmth
I
feeling
love that. Wow.
as something else. Okay,
Wow.
two
Thank you,
last
Julie.
questions.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we incarnate from your perspective? Your guides gave us their perspective. What's your perspective?
For learning. Um, I can only also, again, from my perspective, look at my journey in this lifetime, in this human body. I was in such resistance for such a long time. And, if we were to call it wake-up calls, my wake-up call has been, there's been many. I just wasn't wanting to listen. And when I look back on my journey of going deep within my dark night of the soul, which it rears its head, that shadow's there. Like, really? You're still there? And then I'm in resistance again. But it's for me, it's about the learning. How can we bring change? Not only because when we bring change to ourselves, it's kind of like if you've got a calm lake and you throw a pebble in the lake. We know where the pebble's dropping, but we don't know what the depth it's going to. We might be able to see at the bottom, and then the ripple effects. And that for me is my perception on why we reincarnate, is to bring change for our lineage, for our ancestral, to shift the intergenerational. It's just navigating our North Star.
Mm-hmm. To piggyback along that thought that you just shared, the Council of Eight, it's interesting that you use 8 as the number, because in the Bible, this is what 8 signifies. There's lots of numbers in the Bible. They're called Bible numbers, and they're part of numerology, which is way above my pay grade. I don't know that much about it. I mean, I can do the basic math of you add 3 and 7 and 15 and you get whatever the root number is, but that's about as far as I go. But in the Bible, they use numbers because throughout the millennia, most people were illiterate. And to keep the oral history with some kind of specificity, the old telephone game, you tell somebody something, they tell somebody something, and that story may be totally different by the time it gets to the fourth or fifth person. They wanted to try and keep some consistency in the stories that were in the Bible. And so they used a lot of numbers in the Bible. And 8 stands for regeneration, which you just talked about with reincarnating. 8th is a new first. 8 people on the ark. 8th day is when the circumcision happens. 8 covenants with Abraham. Number of new beginnings and salvation is what 8 signifies, which I thought that was interesting. Also, we had a gal named Lynn McTaggart on the show, who's an investigative journalist, and she's done much research with some of the top universities around the world on what she calls groups of 8, or the power of 8. And she finds that when 8 people are together and they're thinking about the same thing, they have the power to affect change, whether that be in someone's healing that needs it, or in helping plants grow more quickly, more abundantly, or in helping with weather patterns and things like that. And her research is really remarkable. So when I was first preparing for our chat today and I saw your Council of 8, I thought, okay, there we go. There's that 8 number again. Not to mention 8 is the universal symbol for yin and yang, right? And also for a never ending cycle is the figure 8. So I thought that was really remarkable. Do you have any thoughts about that?
I love everything that you've said and brought forth to our conversation. I have questioned them. I'm actually quite surprised that they're still part of my team and that I'm still here, because I'm like, but why? Like, people are channeling, because I often have heard that there's the Council of 9, there's the Council of Light, and they said, Michelle, this is who we are, and it's kind of like this energy. It's like, this is who we are. Like, here we are on a platter. Here we are for everyone. And I've had people say, Michelle, the Council of 8 woke me up in the middle of the night and I didn't know who they were. And I go, that's amazing, or, hey, I channel the Council of 8. And I go, that's beautiful, because exactly that. They are for everyone. I might be the voice I have had moments where I'm like, oh, like, but you're my team.
But you're introducing them to the masses through
Yes.
podcasts and other shows
Yes.
and your work. And so they're using you as the conduit to let people know that, hey, this is a real thing. And hey, you can access us. And you're the one who's been chosen to help get that information distributed, really, is how I look at it.
Yeah, it's been nothing short of miraculous, and it's a bridge, which for me it's, if you look at, I just got the do you remember electric cars? Do you remember our kids, like we used to have those little, and I always remember they zoom, zoom, and if you go too fast they zoom off, and that's how I feel at times, is that, wow, I'm so blessed, and everything's just, it's like we're going at a beautiful pace, and I really just love the connection, because I it's just, it embodies everything, and about everything. So thank you for sharing what you had shared. I didn't know that about the Bible, and it's balance. It's very much balance for me.
Well, in those cars, what's the most standard track that those little Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars
That's
have?
right.
A figure of
Yes.
8, right?
Yes.
A figure
Yes.
8.
That's so true.
You are remarkable, my girl. My goodness. Wow. What a
I've shed enough tears today. I'm just going to cry. Thank you.
You've come through some massive storms to get yourself to the place where in doing that and surviving that, you've raised your vibration, obviously, to a really high level where you can tune to the channel where this Council of 8 is broadcasting, and bring it in and share it with the masses. So thank you for the work that you're doing, and thank you for bringing this into the current zeitgeist so that we can be aware of it, and we can learn from it and learn through you and with you from these spirit beings that are just imparting so much wisdom on all of us. How can people learn more about you and your work?
So I have a website, www.michcarpenter.michcarpenter.com, and it's MICH. And they're welcome to go on there. As I mentioned earlier on, it was a body of work, a lot of frustration. Technical stuff isn't my game, but my husband and I learned a new way of communicating because he had developed it. But everybody can go on there, please, and just go and have a look at what I do. There's a few offerings. We have a winter solstice coming up soon, which I'm putting something out online too. I'm on Instagram, and it's Mich Carpenter CO8. And that's what I love. It's kind of like this oxygen. I always think of CO2, but they're the CO8. They just give us that life force.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and thank you for everything you do. Thank you, Julie.
Oh, you're welcome. We have given you lots to think about here from this conversation. So enjoy unpacking it all. And until next time, sending you lots of love from Sweet Home, Alabama. Mwah! And from New Zealand, too, where Mich is. We'll see you soon. Bye. To enhance your spiritual journey, click on one of the videos below, and remember to subscribe, leave a comment, and share with your family and friends.